Welcome back, everyone. We are on our third series of the day. It is the upper quarters. Loser drops down to the lower bracket. Winner moves forward in the upper bracket. It's Method versus Blast Wave Bros.
Interesting, their name doesn't even have Blast Wave in it right now. Running the Shadow Priest Elemental Shaman. This is a composition that during Shadowlands beta, I think, at least myself, I was anticipating to be pretty strong. So I'm curious to see how it actually plays out now in a tournament format. It is facing Method's Rogue Mage Priest, though, and this is a scary opponent. Waz already moving in.
Yeah, Waz going to be moving in stealth, gets the sap on Jamie. Method is just all over the place with this Rogue Mage. Immediate fear coming in from Frosty, nicely done. Kind of diffusing that opener. The resap does come in, triple Dragon's Breath. Who are they going after? God control is just endless. The full polymorph lands regardless. Frosty gets interrupted, and Jamie's going to be in a lot of trouble right now. Does manage to avoid a lot of that damage, but it was actually the combustion committed, so not a horrible start here. The Astral Shift does trade from Blastwave Bros, as well as the Trinket, so Method kind of getting what they want, despite Frosty doing a good job fearing off Waz. They managed to continue the crowd control chain and actually have a really great start.
Ooh, this could actually just be the game straight up here. Jamie stuck in a smoke bomb right now. No trinket out. Nice defense here from Frosty. Master Spell coming out, getting counterspell Tessia. Going for the resheep here, but Frosty powering through with the heals. Jamie channeling the Fleshcraft. And this was a solid opener there by Method. Now it's going to be Blastwave Bros here pushing in. They get the Hammer of Justice. They get the Lightning Lasso. Waz going to be representing Team Nightfay as well. Going to be trinketing out of that one. And he's going to be able to sneak around the corner with that Night's Bay, going back into the action now, looking for Jamie here, and he's going to look for another kidney shot here onto Ratipai very shortly. You can see Tessia already as well, moving in with an aggressive positioning, but Frosty getting counterspelled now, and there it is. The CC chain has been initiated. They get the kidney shot, they get the sheep, and they're looking for the Ring of Frost. They do get it. There's the full fear, big damage coming in here with the Meteor. Dark Archangel gets ripped through as well. Nice Master Spell coming out from Frosty though, and once again, Frosty just playing that defense so expertly. Waz in the Lightning Lasso gets counterspelled by Tessia, and now the next setup going to be very scary here from Method. They once again have that combustion. Jamie, no trinket for 30.
All right, let's see if they can get the setup here. Ratipai repositioning. Waz chasing him down, taking a huge judgment to the face. Ratipai kind of owning Waz there. Waz gets the stun lock, switching over to Frosty, not going after Jamie. Frosty going to have a greater fade. Try and go for a Shadow Mend, interrupted on it. Waz likely needing to retreat here, but he's close to a pillar. Now can line of sight and re-stealth here in a moment. Curious to see where Method decide to go from here. But no, he doesn't get the re-stealth. That Shadow Crash from Frosty around the corner, sniping him. Now Lightning Lasso gets interrupted by Thacia. Good teamwork there. Meteor comes in onto Frosty. Double stun lock, blind. Beautiful setup. Frosty going to respect the combustion. Just trade dispersion. I think it's more than a fair 1-for-1 exchange. Waz keeps the chain going, though, with a cheap shot into a Ring of Frost around the corner. Waz gets feared away. Frosty Master Spells the ring. Beautiful defense from Frosty. Waz is forced to retreat. Chaz is drinking. Smart play by Chaz while the other team is under fire. The main weakness of his healing class here, the Disc Priest, is running out of mana. So I'm just going to drink to full. Chaz resets his mana bar and puts his team in a good position 3 minutes in.
Yeah, great position. Waz caught into a Lightning Lasso. Thacia looking to back him up right now, shutting that down. And it looks like Frosty is going to be the new main target in this matchup. There's no dispersion, and he's playing Relentless as well. So no trinket available for this kidney shot. Jamie gets caught into a fear. Polymorph on Ratipai. 3 versus 1 situation. Frosty's going to be in a lot of trouble. It looks like the Fade will trade out, avoiding that Meteor damage and the potential Mind Games also. So great Fade there. But Frosty is just, they're slowly working through these cooldowns. Waz, once again, it's very hit and run on that sub-rogue. You go in, you do your go, and then you go for a re-stealth, and that's exactly what Waz is going to be doing. Once he gets that re-stealth, he can move in, potentially set it up. It looks like he will just be using the Shadowy Duel on Frosty to deny any damage on Chaz. And actually, a lot of rogues have been opting to use that Shadowy Duel as a defensive cooldown, as a defensive option to avoid their healer getting one shot, and it worked out great there for Waz.
Yeah, and Chaz is going to be able to hold on to all of his cooldowns, and Mind Game's now getting counterspelled here by Prophecy. It looks like they're setting up onto Jamie. They get a full fear onto Ratipai. There's the kidney shot. There's the Master Spell. Blink, Dragon's Breath into the Ring of Frost here by Tessia. He doesn't actually land it there. Oh, nice Mind Control into it by Chaz. Mind Games gets channeled through here. Gonna get a resheet. They do find it there onto Ratipai, and Jamie here once again gonna be able to get full HP right there. And once again, a clean setup from Method. but they don't actually net themselves any real CCs here or CDs here from the team of Blastwave Bros. And now Blastwave Bros here once again looking after Waz mainly, as well as Chaz as their targets here, but Waz just constantly going for these restarts makes it very tricky. A swap here, no, actually another kidney shot setup here. Tessia though, no blinks, not going to be able to get that CC, and now Smoke Bomb is going to extend the chain. They do find the Sheep finally. Sheep onto the Master Spell gets interrupted by Jamie, and now once again Waz looking for the restart, and that's basically the game. Now you're gonna see Blastwave Bros, they have the timer on their side. If Chaz goes out of mana, that's game over for Method. So if they can keep up this defense, not having to use anything, they can definitely win the game that way. But at any moment, one super clean setup could just open this game wide open here on the side of Method.
Oh, nice grip from Frofsy on Jamie's stun there. Rattapie still in a polymorph, but I think Jamie will survive moving out of the meteor. Waz retreats. I think it was a long time ago, back when Talbodar was competing, he would play these elemental shamans and people would call it like the triple healer. That's what Blastwave Bros are doing right now. They're actually wearing healer legendaries. Frofsy's wearing a Shadowmen legendary. Jamie's wearing an Earthshield legendary. So Shadowmen becomes lay on hands for Frofsy, and Jamie gets this very powerful Earthshield healing. This is really good for a durable composition into a disciplined priest. So I like their strategy. Is it going to be enough? Jamie dips low. Astral Shift, Divine Shield should be enough, but an overlap nonetheless. Maybe a necessary one as Shadowy Duel is pulled out. Jamie's trying to heal himself back up, getting some support. Full blind on Rattapie. No way to escape it at the moment as he's on forbearance. Jamie's trying to counter pressure at this point in time. His team's now out of crowd control. Waz needs to be careful, fainting. Chaz recovers. Although Blastwave Bros are playing this triple healer strategy, triple healer legendary build, Chaz is doing a phenomenal job maintaining his mana. I would have expected him to be close to out of mana at this point, and perhaps if he doesn't run out of mana, the strategy won't work.
Yeah, that's with no ice block also, we have to keep that in mind. Actually susceptible to some damage from the Shadow Priest and the Elemental Shaman. Waz moves forward. Looks like the Blessing of Protection will trade from Rattapie on that kidney shot. Wanted no part of that go coming in from Method, but I think Chaz is going to be happy to sit back, maybe even go for a drink. And that's the thing. If Waz and Tessia play really defensive, they're using the pillar quite often in the matchup, and they're not overstaying their welcome. They just do the hit and run strategy. They go in, they get the stuns, they get out. Chaz is going to be able to maintain his mana for quite some time in this match, especially if he's consistently going for drinks. So Blastwave Bros are going to have to shut down those drinks, and they're going to have to kind of push the pace. After they survive the setup, they need to kind of force Method into a situation where they're actually being pressured. And if they can't find that, I think it will be difficult for them to actually close out the game. Big setup here on Jamie.
Whoa.
Dark Archangel, he's so low, and he gets absolutely deleted. Very nicely done there by Method. Eventually, the hit is enough, and they're able to put enough, the first point on the board.
Yeah, that was an insane amount of damage there. Dark Archangel, Combustion, big meteor there on an isolated target there. Jamie caught a little bit out of position there. He dropped the Earth Shield on himself, thinking it's just going to be the rogue and him, and that big Earth Shield should be enough to keep him alive. Unfortunately for him, Mage was able to connect, and of course those buffs going through the pillar was going to be enough there for that setup to net them the kill. I gotta say, Frofsy played a phenomenal game this game here. Defensively, he had great fears, great life grips, just great disruption in general. But, you know, one setup like this from the Rogue Mage is really all it takes. There, Tessia gets, he's trying to fish for a sheep here onto Rattapie, and they get a sheep onto Frofsy. He defs it even there. And now they get the kidney shot, Ring of Frost, and there it is, Jamie behind the pillar, Dark Archangel, and boom goes the meteor, and Jamie is going to get slayed behind that pillar.
Sika, do you think it's fitting that the first time we see Jamie in 2021, he's losing to Rogue Mage? I feel like this is like his enemy, like his rival is Rogue Mage. He just absolutely does not like Rogue Mage. So maybe they can come up with something for game 2, but the triple healer legendaries wasn't even enough.
Yeah, something interesting to note as well is, you know, historically looking at Rattapie over the years in his career in the AWC, he's kind of always stuck with that Disc Priest regardless of the meta or whichever healer was sort of considered best at the time. We always saw him sticking on that Discipline Priest, and now we see him playing Holy Paladin. It's actually Chaz that's playing the Disc Priest, Ben.
Yeah, it's going to be Chaz on the Discipline Priest, and I mean, that's one of the things we want to see from healers in general, and I think Rattapie, I know Zico plays a lot with him as well on that Paladin, so he has been practicing and playing that quite a bit, and that was a criticism we had for Rattapie way back in the day, that he wasn't really playing those alt specializations as much as he needed to, and it kind of pigeonholed them into playing the Discipline Priest. A healer like Chaz, he's been playing, when Mistweavers are good, he plays Mistweavers. When Paladins are good, he plays Paladin. When Druids are good, he plays Druid. He'll basically play whatever is the best at the time, and he's had that flexibility for a long time. I think it's really nice to see Ratipai. I think it is fair to say that Ratipai has been kind of stepping up in that way for a little while now, so it is nice to see it, but this is one of the problems. I talked about it in the middle of the game, is for Blastwave Bros, although they're surviving, it's not good enough. Like, you need to actually have pressure in between the goes, because if all you're doing is surviving, eventually you're going to get caught in a stun behind a pillar and combustion is just going to one-shot you. So that's exactly what we saw, and I think Blastwave Bros, the big thing they need to do this game is to figure out a way to actually push in, and what target they want to go after in the matchup. And maybe it is Chaz. Maybe they actually just need to go after the Discipline Priest. I think running after Waz is really difficult to do, especially with how good of a rogue he is. Just super slippery, always looking for those restyles, always looking to avoid damage, and I think you get baited that way. I think you really have to pressure down the mage a little bit and do big setups on the priest if they want to win this matchup.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can pull that out. You're definitely right about, both of these teams coming in hot for game number 1, but they are going to have to figure out something going into this next game. They are going to be locking in their compositions and their map pretty soon here, but Method, really hard person to face up in your first cup, or for your first game for this cup here. They won cup number 1 already at 120 points, so they're sitting nice and comfy in that number 1 seeded spot here in hopes to move on into that circuit series. And Blastwave, they don't currently have any points on the board for their team if they want to make it into that top 8 for this European region. Ashmane's Fall is going to be the map that we're going to. Method going with that Sub-Rogue and Fire Mage once again. And Blastwave Bros now a minute and a half left to pick their composition here. Zico, what would you like to see from them, especially now that we're going to a larger map like Ashmane's?
It's time to bring in Livin. Everybody wants to see it. He's been around for a long time. He's been one of yeah, exactly. I mean, look at the team name. I think we're going to see either Shadow Priest, Paladin, and Fire Mage, or we're going to see Ellie, Fire Mage, Holy Paladin. And I think I'm leaning towards the Shadow Priest a little bit more here. We'll see, though, what they end up going with, but I do think it's time to bring in Livin and have him make his debut here. He's been around for a long time. He's been, one of the best mages way back, and now it's time to see him and to see what he can do here. And he was, if I'm not misremembering here, he was a Fire Mage only. He was kind of like a Hansel, basically, just only playing that one spec, playing that one Fire Mage. Even when Frost was, the meta, he stuck with that Fire Mage and he had a lot of success with it. So I'm excited to see if that's what they go with, or if they want to give this Ellie Shaman Shadow Priest another game and then maybe bring him in on something like a Tulvir. But if you ask me, I think that game looked convincing enough to bring him in already.
Yeah, and he's in good hands as well. He's got a team full of AWC veterans, so even if he is a little bit rusty for competition play in the AWC, he's certainly got some amazing teammates to back him up here on the side of Blastwave Bros. Time is ticking, though. They're using that full timer to pick out their composition, which tells me that they've got a lot to discuss here on this team. We are not going to see him, though, unfortunately. They are sticking with that Ellie Shaman, Shadow Priest, Ratipai once again on that Holy Paladin here. Supatees, now that we're seeing the composition, what do you guys want to see them do up against Method?
I mean, it's tough. Elemental Shaman has just struggled with Rogue Mage for a long time. You don't have a lot of options when you're locked in a stun, and if no one else on your team can help you out, you just kind of get erased. So, and again, Frosty played well, I think, while they were pushing in, deathing that polymorph, avoiding crowd control, but it still wasn't enough. They overlapped, I think, at one point, Divine Shield and Astral Shift. So if they had been able to avoid overlapping their defensive cooldowns, that's something that Rogue Mage will just exploit immediately. They need to be trying to separate those out a little bit more and have better shot calling on their defense. And then that's something they could improve upon. I'm not 100% sold on the double healer legendary. I think maybe because the Ellie loses so much damage. Like the legendary Equilibrium, not having that ability to just zap someone out of the game means that Method can, I feel like they can just go wherever they want, do whatever they want. There's no threat. And then if they get perfect crowd control, they don't care about how much healing you brought. You're going to die in a stun. So I wonder if maybe they should drop some of these healer legendaries.
All right, game number 2 here. Method already up 1-0 versus Blastwave Bros. Are they going to tie it up here, or is Method going to find themselves on match point?
Certainly an uphill battle here for Blastwave Bros. Method pulling this one out really, really well. I mean, normally what you'd expect to see is the Discipline Priest goes out of mana, so you're on a time limit, but Chaz doing a great job, sneaking away, going for drinks. Tessie and Waz making sure there's not many opportunities for Frosty and Jamie to actually find damage in this match. So I think Blastwave Bros, their ticket to success in this match, not only do they need to survive, but they also have to find a way to win. Cheap shot on Rattapie into a Polymorph, Sap on Frosty, beautiful 3v1 situation once again. Jamie not really taking too much damage in the initial stages of the match. Rattapie into a Polymorph that will fade. Jamie gets topped off, and this is not a bad start at all for Blastwave Bros. But now, where are they going to find the pressure?
Yeah, I want to see them go for Chaz, but he's making it extremely difficult with his positioning, kind of just going in and out from that max range position, doing the setup, and then going back to that pillar. Now they're going to get a big setup here onto Jamie, but Frofsy looking to potentially shut that down, actually counter pressuring a decent amount. Waz gets the sap here onto Rattapie. Let's see if they can find any more follow-up. Jamie's still looking pretty good here, gets kicked on the Hex. There's the DR Ring, there's the Dragon's Breath onto Frofsy, and now Rattapie going to be free to heal here using those wings. And Jamie pre-walling that setup, not really taking any damage whatsoever here. So really good stuff here from Blastwave Bros. And you can see now Chaz already in a pretty good position defensively, so he's not really going to be a target. And these teams basically just traded sides on the map. And honestly, I think that's a slight win here for Method. They didn't really have to waste anything here, and they got basically a Blessing of Protection for free. They got a full sheep onto Frofsy, sheep shot sheep onto Dragon Breath sheep onto Rattapie, swapping the chain here. Mind control now onto Frofsy. He activates the Greater Fade. One big Shadowman coming through there, and is it going to be enough there? Saved by the Light procs there for Jamie. DR cheap shot now coming out as well. Tessia in a stun now, and Rattapie is going to come out. Now, he could use his sacrifice, but he could also be greedy here, and knowing Rattapie, he's probably going to be greedy. And I think he's going to actually be, it's going to be the right choice to make here for him. Now, once again, Method on the run, waiting for those DRs, waiting for that next setup.
Well, let's see if they can get something going. Chaz grips Waz out of the fight there. Deja was left behind, though, taking a blasting from Jamie and Frofsy. Chaz trying to recover, still struggling a bit, but Rattapie's now in a Polymorph. They're swapping over to Frofsy, mixing it up here, trying to bait a dispersion prior to that combustion. If they can manage to pull enough damage, doesn't look like it. Frofsy's trying to fake interrupts, looking for Shadow Men's, and now Method look to retreat. Their mana is not in a good position, though, this time around. Likely Chaz is playing more aggressively, but that could come back to bite him. Jamie lobbing out Lava Burst, just maxing out his damage here. Thacia looking to reset combustion with shifting power. Very important to get to that as soon as possible here if they want to net a kill on the Shaman. Pre-wall by Jamie here. Nice play by Jamie. That's going to reduce a lot of damage during this crowd control chain that his whole team was locked down in and allow them to hold on to more precious cooldowns like Sacrifice for the combustion in the future. It was a nice read, but Chaz just drank to full mana while his team got a setup. So now Chaz puts his team in a position where they can play for a longer match as well. These teams look evenly matched in game 2.
Yeah, not too bad, but I mean, you have to stop those drinks. It's just not an easy thing to do when Tessia and Waz just go full peel mode. It's no longer get crowd control to try to win the game, it's get crowd control to stall the game. And that gives Chaz an opportunity to sit down for a drink and reset his mana, putting his team in a great position here. Tessia once again getting the Polymorphs, actually a sap over onto Rattapie, continuing the crowd control chain, but Jamie not really under any pressure right now. It's going to have to be a clean setup, especially with the legendaries that we're seeing from Blastwave Bros are playing very defensively oriented. So we need to see a 3 versus 1 with a meteor, with a combustion, and I think that's when they're going to be able to close out the game. If their setup isn't perfect from Method, I think Blastwave Bros, they're going to be able to survive. Jamie right now getting targeted down. Waz getting pressured down a little bit. This is the combustion. Big damage on Jamie. He trades out the trinket, drops the grounding totem, and Rattapie actually sacrifices as well. So it's both trinkets, and I think Method's going to be more than happy with that situation. Definitely a little bit of an overlap there from Blastwave Bros.
Oh, but Waz actually gets left behind here. Stuck in the hand of justice. Lava Burst Lottery coming in. He does get dispelled there, though. No, actually, he did use his trinket and his Cloak of Shadows there. And now Jamie getting kicked here. Chaz mana not looking as good as it did earlier. Rattapie in a blind. Here's the Meteor. Here's the 3 versus 1 we're talking about. Rattapie walks into the Meteor burn right there after he uses that Blessing of Protection to break out of the blind and also breaks out of the sheep there. Excellent trade by Rattapie. But they are slowly and surely withering down the cooldown cooldowns here of Blast Wave Bros. But on the flip side, Blast Wave Bros have had a lot more better pressure so far. But Chaz, sitting down for a drink, Frofsy notices it and immediately starts pressuring the enemy team. Rattapie now in a kidney shot. Jamie, preemptive Astral Shift. Nice Ring of Frost here from Tessia. Nice sheep onto Frofsy into the fear. And now Tessia should be able to get the resheep here, no problems. Jamie completely isolated, but now Frofsy out of crowd control should be able to back Jamie up. Chaz immediately sitting down for a drink, and he's getting a lot of ticks here. Tessia though getting pressured, but he uses a nice temporal. Actually, I think that was just heal from Chaz's Radiance right there, keeping him alive there. And now Tessia still taking a little bit of damage, but Chaz was able to recover a lot of his mana there in that drink. So right now, Method still looking good with these, hit and runs with those drinks. Another setup here being launched, Sid.
Double Dragon's Breath, full polymorph. Jamie on the run, needs Frofsy's support. They Shadow Step interrupt, but they do overlap a little bit there. Jamie looks like he's going to recover. Rattapie's out of crowd control for a moment. Now Thasia Waz look to retreat. Chaz is trying to pull back away from the fight as well. Chaz playing max range in this game, making sure that they don't lose in the short term because of mana, trying to constantly drink. But lockdown and crowd control, double stun lock. Nice setup here by Blast Wave Bros, laying into Thasia, but big heals come in off to the side. Chaz allows them to recover. Lightning Lasso swap onto Waz around the corner. Waz with Shadowy Duel, so Jamie on a one-on-one there, trying to solo Waz, getting him down to half health, trying to bait a cloak, not finding the bait just yet. Rattapie stunned up, Jamie on the run, Frosty and a poly, Waz reconnects, stun locking him out of line of sight. Chaz moves in, Meteor around the corner, Jamie trinkets to dodge the Meteor, knocks Waz away, line of sighting and Ghost Wolf getting right back to Rattapie. Beautiful defense there. Method need to retreat. They need to try and drink and reset mana. If this game goes any longer, mana will become an issue. Frofsy moving in to try and stop the drink. Earthquake off to the side. Chaz doesn't get too much mana. Thasia's desperate, trying to get that combustion off cooldown. Frofsy's getting cheeky with the Door of Shadows, trying to bait a Door of Shadows in and deny a drink. Waz re-stealths. Thasia's going to back him up here. Combustion coming up in 15. Thasia just needs a couple more fireballs. He's going to polymorph Frofsy. 3 versus 1, but Jamie pre-walls the incoming attack. Waz is holding the stuns. He hasn't committed. He's waiting for that Astral Shift, and then he's going to go all out here onto Jamie. This could be dicey if they're not ready for it. Meteor cracks onto Jamie. He's got Earth Shield up, though, and with that Legendary, it's going to do a lot of healing. Frofsy bombs in a big Shadowman. Jamie survives despite all the crowd control. Now, Blast Wave Bros need to get aggressive, find a target, go for that double stun.
Ooh, let's see if they can actually find someone to hit at this moment of the game. Chaz right now in a good position. They're going for it. Combustion onto Rattapie. Rattapie's in a lot of trouble to get script away. Is this going to be the Divine Shield? It would be massive. He's greeting it. Looks like he's actually, is he using the Protection Paladin Legendary? He is. Rattapie using the Protection Paladin Legendary for that cheat death effect. He's going to get a lot of damage reduction when he does get low enough health, and that will prevent him from using the Divine Shield or the Trinket. And Method's probably thinking, oh man, the surprise. and he holds onto that cooldown, and now Blast Wave Bros are able to hold on, and they're looking to reverse the pressure. Thessia actually getting really low. Chaz caught into a fear. This could be the Ice Block. They managed to get cauterized. Things are looking better and better in this matchup for Blast Wave Bros. Are they going to be able to do it and tie this series up? This game is certainly looking convincing.
Yeah, Chaz getting caught up there as well in a Hammer of Justice, making his way to the pillar again, and Frofsy there trying to get his Door of Shadows, not able to find it for now though. And now once again Rattapie and Jamie just max ranging here, trying to get away here, but look at Waz sneaking around in stealth here, looking for the setup. There's the sheep. Frofsy with the beautiful Shadow Word Death denies it, but Chaz with a Door Fear combo. There's the Dragon's Breath, there's the sheep. He gets silenced on it once again here by Frofsy, and Frofsy with excellent defense once again able to save the day there for his team. And now Lightning Lance coming out from Jamie. Beautiful counterspell by Tessia, though, shutting it down. But look at Chaz mana bar, and all of a sudden the game is spiraling out of their grasp here for Method. Rattapie has basically all his cooldowns back. Once again, there's the full blind, there's the sheep shot onto Jamie. Here we go. This is the setup. And Tessia trying to do a bait go here and holding onto his combustion. They get the trinket sacrifice for wow, still left behind here. Does have his trinket, does have his Cloak of Shadows, using that Night Space Soul Shape to get back to the pillar, and that's going to be enough for him. So nice counterattack, but Chaz also sneaking away once again, getting a drink. And this game is on a razor's edge right now. Anybody could walk away with this one. If the pressure keeps going, though, I'm inclined to believe it's going to go in favor of the Blast Wave Bros.
Oh, swap over to Rattapie, locking him down in a stun, pulling the Divine Shield. Massive spell attempt? No, Chaz not going for it. Rattapie will recover, but Now, Radopi has no way to escape crowd control, and that's a deadly situation when facing a rogue mage priest. Method retreat for a moment, find their bearings before launching an attack. Waz gets intercepted, but the lightning lasso is interrupted. Thasia gets stun locked, dispelled out. Nice disruption here from Method, totally shutting down those stuns. Now, beautiful crowd control executed. Jamie trinkets out to try and support, getting that Earth Shield up, thunderstorming Waz away. Saved by the light going to proc. Big heals bombed in from the team, and they perfectly protect Radopi upon Method's pursuit. Now, Method once again on defense, trying to run around the corner. Jamie chasing after them. Thasia looking to reset combustion, gets silenced, stun on Chaz. They've isolated, but don't have any damage here. Thasia now into a lightning lasso. Jamie running around the corner. Dampening is quite high at this point. Thasia's going to respect it, trading in an ice block. Now, without his immunity cooldown, it could be dicey. Waz stunned behind the pillar. Chaz dispels, but Waz is still very low on health. Mass dispel. They're going after Radopi once again. Will they be able to take him down? Earthshield is up. Lots of healing. Grip to the side. Big Shadow Men comes in. And all of that defensive build from Jamie and Frofsy pays off. Radopi stays in the fight. Now Blastwave Bros need to try and close this game out. They've been playing for a deep dampening, run the priest out of mana strategy. We're now at that point in deep dampening. Will it work out?
We'll have to see. I mean, Chaz, his mana's not looking good, and his dampening gets higher and higher. That means more Radiances that have to come in to actually stabilize his team. Chaz going for crowd control. Are they going to switch up their targeting? Kidney shot on Radopi. Looks like Jamie is the new target of choice. He's got the Astral Shift. There's no combustion here. Destia deciding to not use it, so trying to just bait out some cooldowns, but they aren't able to get anything. I mean, Jamie read that situation perfectly, and now Blastwave Bros, this is where we want to see them get aggressive. You have to chase down Waz, you have to chase down Destia. You can't allow Chaz to drink, and if they can do that, Blastwave Bros can stay in it. They have so many defensive cooldowns they can still rotate through. This is looking like the most convincing game yet from them.
Yeah, and this is actually a drink go here. Chaz doored away, and he's sitting down for a drink on the opposite side of the map. Chesia, though, no cauterize, no ice block. If they can silence Chaz, that could be massive. He drops the pain suppression there, realizing if he gets crowd controlled, his mage is going to just get KO. They get a sheep here onto Radopi. Jamie trades out the Astral Shift, but Waz hasn't committed the stun yet. There's the DR Sap into the triple DR sheep, and now there's a kidney with the fear, so he can't tremor it. And here comes the combustion. Gets immediately dispelled, though, I do believe there, from Tessia, and now he gets silenced there as well, and Jamie gonna be surviving there with that blessing of protection. It does get dispelled by Tessia's kleptomania, but still that is going to be a pretty decent trade, all things considered. Chaz was starting that go with a drink, so definitely not on the same page as the rest of his team. And now Chaz rotting down here. This could be the last ditch effort here. Radopi has no breakers. DR Sheep coming out. What are you gonna trade here? Frofsy doesn't have anything, and that's just gonna be the game. Jamie dying at 44% dampening against the RMP, and that's got to be because of those drinks that Chaz was able to secure. What a game.
Yeah, what a game indeed. Method now on match point 2-0 in this best of 5 series. We're seeing these guys really struggling here. Do you think that Super Tease is really coming down to just not enough damage output, given that they're opting to use those healing legendaries?
I think, yeah, I mean, legendaries are really important. I feel like for specs like Elemental Shaman, basically all of your damage comes from that legendary. Otherwise, you're just relying on Lightning Lasso, but it's not enough damage on its own to really close a game. And then Frofsy on Shadow Priest, all of their damage is going to come from Mind Games, so maybe comboing that together, going after the Disc Priest might work, but it seems like they're not able to get to Chaz, and the big map actually backfired on them because Chaz was able to just drink the whole time. But if they go to a small map, then will they be able to protect their Paladin? It's a really tough strategy to call, and Method just played into sort of the strengths of the other team, but at the same time it just worked, just resetting for drinks, maintaining mana, because obviously dampening is a double-edged sword. It's going to reduce the healing from the legendaries that Jamie and Frofsy are bringing to the fight, as well as really stress out the Discipline Priest. So I think Method played that really well, considering that we've not seen this composition in competitive play. We've not really seen a team try triple healer legendaries either, so Method looked more than ready for it. And now the small map, the medium map didn't work, the big map didn't work. Are they going to try the small map with the same comp or switch up? Because I feel like against Rogue Mage Priest, we've seen a lot of teams switch to Shadow Priest Mage Paladin and have success, and they have that as an option. So a bit surprised to not see them switch to that here in the second game.
It's like Goldilocks up in here with map choices and sizes, but you're absolutely right. Method is looking super solid. We've seen RMP just absolutely dominate the AWC for quite some time. There's really never been a season where it hasn't been good, at least viable. So it's certainly no stranger composition to us. And Method, I gotta say, Method is looking really, really comfy on it, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a team that's going to pull it off, it's going to be them, and they really make it look easy. My big thing about that last game was I feel like Blastwave Bros, they did a good job surviving. The big thing that was difficult for them is, the Dora Shadows and Go for Drinks from Chaz, them constantly be able to run away. I can't help but feel like if we went to a small map, they'd be far better off. Like, I think a small map actually favors Blastwave Bros. It makes it more difficult for Waz to drop combat and, run away. And that's really the big thing is Method's basically able to do whatever they want in this matchup. They go in, they hit, and then they run away. And on a big map, it's a lot easier to run away. It's a lot easier to reset. Whereas on a small map, like what if we went even somewhere like Ruins of Lordaeron?
Yeah.
It's going to be way more difficult for Method to actually get those resets and run away. Ratapie is going to be in the open a lot more often for them to Chaz is going to be in the open a lot more often for them to pressure. I think he really is the main pressure point in the matchup. And I think that map in particular would be a lot better for Blastwave Bros.
I was literally just about to say the same thing. I want to see them go to Ruins because there's just not enough line of sight. And if you line of sight on the little tombstone in the middle, it's not good enough because you can just walk over it and still get to your target. The carts on the sides are just too small, and obviously making your way into the room and then back out, it's just too difficult. But they are going to go with the Dalaran sewers, which isn't that bad of a choice, but I 100% agree. Ruins for sure would have been a lot better.
Okay, Dalaran Sewers is the map. Method locking in RMP once again. Blastwave looking to try and reverse sweep this series here. It is an upper bracket, so it's not like the worst situation. If they lose the series, they do drop down to the lower bracket, either of these teams, whichever ends up losing this series. So they have another chance to make it back up to the grand finals, but obviously it's a better position to be in that upper bracket and move forward and not have to worry about that. But minute and a half left for Blastwave to choose their composition. And it feels like in this series they haven't really found their footing yet, Supatis. It's like, these are all very, very capable players, but it doesn't seem like they really have a solid answer to what Method is dealing with them right now, dealing to them.
It's just not a threatening comp when you're wearing triple healer legendaries. They're doing that to try and outlast the priest, and then Chaz says, nope, you're not outlasting me, I'm just going to drink the whole game. So then it's like, well, that didn't work, we can't run the priest out of mana, so all of this defense is going to start to not work as well in dampening. It's a tough matchup. I would have much rather have seen the Shadow Priest Mage, I think, in game number 2. I'm curious, as Soulbind conduits are unlocked, there's a specific Soulbind for Kyrian, for Mechanicos, and I think it's a really good anti-rogue conduit or Soulbind, where when you get low HP, you AoE stun everyone around you. So typically, no shaman in the game, in PvP at least, wants to go Kyrian. But specifically into Rogue Mage, what is Waz going to do if every time he tries to go after Jamie, he gets AoE stunned, and then that doesn't DR lasso? It'd be an AoE stun into a full lasso. I feel like that could be a really good anti-rogue build, potentially for shamans if they want to run the strategy. But I think this is a wiser decision here on match point. Bring in Livin on the Fire Mage, run the Shadow Priest Fire Mage Holy Paladin, and try to make it work with this, because this has been a comp that has a good track record into Rogue Mage Priest.
And do we like it on?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
So I was just going to say, I think that, first of all, I do like this composition a lot, and I like it on this map, but I was going to say, I think that's a thing we're going to see in 2 weeks, because I don't think the renown is high enough yet to have those Soulbind options available, but I think that's when things are going to start getting really interesting, is when we start seeing the max capability of all of these different Soulbinds unlocked. And I think it could completely change, what comps and what classes are viable and what kind of rises to the top. So I think in 2 weeks from now, that's going to be really interesting to see. That's a good point.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, these guys are on TR, so they have the flexibility of basically being able to choose whatever they want. We've already seen some really interesting sort of experimentation that we haven't been able to see on live ladder in terms of, conduits and gears and soul binds, like you mentioned, Ben. But yeah, they aren't at maximum renown yet, so I think that's just going to increase exponentially into what these players can do with the freedom of being on a tournament realm. But it's game number 3 here on Dalaran Sewers. Method on their match point. Blast Wave Bros need to win this next one if they want to have a chance to turn this around against Method.
Yeah, and I think how much does renown goes up 2 now? So yeah, in exactly 2 weeks we'll see that unlocked, because right now I believe we're on a level 28 on the TR. So we're going to be seeing the Forge Minister Prime coming in potentially, and all those last rows. But for now, it's going to be all of these players just trying to bring it back on the side of Blast Wave Pros. They're going to be bringing in the Blast Wave here with Livin making his debut here with his team's back against the wall. They're playing on Dalaran Sewers here. Let's see how they decide to open on the side of Method here. And Tessia is going to go for that Blink Dragon's Breath cheap shot onto Radify. And look at Livin already. So they're slowing down the opener here immediately, getting that Dragon's Breath sheep, looking to fake cast that counterspell of Tessia. Tessia not falling for it. They do get a nice sheep here going after Frofsy, and Living now getting counterspelled. Radify still in crowd control here, and I think they can actually go after Frofsy right now. Let's see if they can get something onto him. Livin actually using his trinket there in the opening stages. Chaz as well dropping down that power barrier with his entire team being just behind that pillar. They're going to get Livin's human racial, but not much else, and that was for Tessia's trinket as well as his combustion. So far, Blast Wave Bros looking pretty good.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up here. Mana still solid for Chaz, and that is the main thing I'm looking at when I see a Discipline Priest. So if Chaz can maintain that, his team's in a good position on match point. They're confident. They're going after Frofsy with triple crowd control. Frofsy finally getting out of stuns, greater phase, but he's still very low. Radify connecting 1 Holy Shock before going into a 1-second Polymorph. Avenging Wrath up, whole team back to full. Now Blast Wave Bros need to look to get aggressive. It looks like they were targeting Chaz a little bit, but Chaz is way out of position for them to go after him. They're going to have to overextend if they want to go after him. They double fear. They try and punish the Dispel with the Silence. Beautiful swap to Waz. Trinket, Cloak of Shadows will be pulled, but it is a fair trade for the combustion of Livin. So Waz with a correct response. Frofsy now trying to retreat off the side, but he is out in the open. Exposed target here for a smoke bomb potentially. They're still trying to get Waz into a good position to take him down where he can't retreat, but he's going to shadow step back to the pillar. Daisha now under fire, down below half. Frofsy tearing in, but now Frofsy getting turned around by Waz. Dispersion forced on his side. No combustion. That's a big opening. Daisha is still taking quite a bit of damage, a surprising amount. Finally, Chaz able to stabilize, and Chaz is in an aggressive position here on his opponent's pillar. With that feather, potentially looking to go in for a fear. Radify moves closer, is a bit hesitant to do so. Deja has been taking some hits here. Radify charges in. Who are they going to go after? Chaz gets stunned up. Are they going to go after Chaz? Looks like they want to go after Deja. Deja popping that Battle Master, going for a counterspell. Swap over to Radify. Will he be able to survive this? It's combustion. Big damage potentially from the Fire Mage. Phoenix Flames flying in, but not enough damage. Frofsy stabilizing Radify. And now Waz and Chaz need to retreat. And Chaz has spent a ton of mana being aggressive in just what looked like about a minute of time. Method looked to try and reset.
Yeah, having Livin on that Fire Mage, it makes this matchup a lot more convincing. Chaz actually sitting down for a drink right now. They need to stop him. Livin moving forward. Does he get it? No, he doesn't hit the Flame Strike. Chaz going to be going straight to full mana. This is an absolute disaster situation, but still a little while away from dampening. And basically what Blast Wave Bros want to do, they want to basically stun up someone who doesn't have a trinket, get crowd control on everyone else, and combustion. If they can set up that situation, it's a surefire way to get a lot of defensive cooldowns, but it's certainly easier said than done. Frosty right now caught into multiple stuns. The blind onto Radify. He's going to use his trinket. Frosty trades out the fade. A full polymorph, though, on Radify. Frosty, can he get the MD? He does. Gets the Mass Dispel, and now using Shadowman to top himself off. Blast Wave Bros is looking solid. Chaz position so far away. And quite typically what Blast Wave Bros want to do is go after Chaz, but if you look at Chaz's positioning, look how far away he is in the match. He's just constantly playing at max range, now using Door Shadows to move in, and a big setup here onto Radify. Radify gets gripped away. Great job there by Frosty, backing up his team, and both these teams playing at such a high level.
Oh, that was a beautiful dispel there by Chaz. He dispelled the Hammer of Justice right before he got caught up in that crowd control chain. And now Frofsy, as a result, could have to use his dispersion here, able to hold on to it for a little bit right now. and maybe they can force it. The CC chain continues here, but now Prophecy is going to be able to hold on to that. So nice plays here from both teams, and Chaz once again looking for those drinking opportunities. This is the only reason why his mana bar isn't at like 20% right now. Big swap onto Ratify. Tessia with the combustion there, and Livin not able to dispel that one. Livin instead actually using his own combustion now. Both mages right now doing a lot of damage here, but it's Ratify is the one who had to trade his cooldown there, forcing out the Divine Shield. He doesn't have a trinket, and right now there's about a 30-second window left where Ratify is going to be on that Forbearance debuff, and they could actually potentially take him down. Tessia's moving in, gets the Dragon's Breath into the sheep. They go after Prophecy with the Kidney Shot, and he doesn't have Dispersion either. Could actually be could just be the Void Shift here if he's not careful. He goes for the Fade, he goes for the Vampiric Touch, but he knows if he gets kicked, could be very scary. Living now with a beautiful Combust here, counter pressuring, and Chaz is just going to pull Tessia back to the pillar, and I believe Chaz was sitting down for yet another drink here. Waz now as well with the Soul Shape, looking for the reset, but unfortunately for him, Braun has entered the fight, and he's keeping them in combat.
Oh, Ring of Frost gets stopped there, nice and now, but follow-up Fear from Chaz. They need a Polymorph. Oh, pre-sacrifice from Ratify denies the assault here onto Prophecy. They need to get aggressive onto Method here, but Method's just retreating away. Difficult for the Shadow Priest Mage to close the gap. They silence Thasia with the Polymorph on Chaz. Nice clutch crowd control here from Prophecy, trying to close the game, but Thasia's Triune Ward plus healing from Chaz is more than enough, I think, to recover. Double Psychic Scream. They're trying to extend it. Go for a kill here, but Ratify is going to get polymorphed. They can't stop it. Prophecy pre-fades, goes for a Mass Dispel, fakes the counter spell, gets the Mass Dispel. Nice play from Prophecy, breaking up the chain, but now they're swapping to Ratify, trying to make something out of nothing. Will they be able to get a kill here? They gripped him back to the pillar, gets stunned on his Shadow Men. Ratify's Prot Legendary proccing here, saving him right at that very low health margin when Combustion was popped. A very important play once again from Prophecy. And that Prot Paladin Legendary keeps Blastwave Bros in the upper bracket for now.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling good about that one. Chaz right now, mana still not looking too bad. Kind of even on with Ratify. Tessia now getting interrupted with Polymorph on Chaz. Tessia's going to have to be very careful. Looks like Waz is just going into full peel mode. Cheap shots on the entire team. You get a cheap shot, you get a cheap shot, and guess what? You get a cheap shot. And now Waz, once again, looking for that re-stealth, repositioning with Chaz, and they're just going to be looking to move. Frosty may have overstayed his welcome. He's across the map. If he got caught in a stun there, it might have been a disaster situation. Waz just opting to go for that re-stealth. Mana not looking too great on the side of Chaz once again as we march into around 20 or 10% dampening at this point in the game. But there's no real openings here for the side of Blastwave Bros. Right now, Tessia has all his cooldowns, Chaz has all his cooldowns, Waz has all his cooldowns. And I feel like at this point, Method, they just need to pick a target, and they're going after Prophecy. They do net the dispersion. These consistent setups coming in from Method, as long as Chaz can maybe sneak away for a drink, I feel like things are looking good.
Yeah, and Ratify, he's gonna have he has his trinket and his sacrifice rotating back up. His bubble, about 30 seconds left. Chaz mana bar not looking good, so if they can just keep stopping those drinks now, that's going to be big. Living though, you're going in here for the counter pressure instead of stopping the drink, and that means Chaz potentially going to get full HP here, but Ratify might have actually died if he didn't there. He did have his trinket to trade, and there it is. Hammer of Justice. Chaz gets the dispel right before he can be silenced there by Prophecy, and that's going to be an excellent play there as well with Tessia's counterspell shutting that down, and as well Chaz getting the drink, balancing that drink, and when he stops that drink now, full fear secured. Here's the Kidney Shot, and now here comes big damage. Prophecy once again saving the day, but Ratify trading out his Blessing of Protection. There's a little bit of a miscommunication. I don't think he needed to use that right there, but he didn't have his Legendary, so he was feeling a little bit scared. Still gonna have that trinket and that bubble to fall back on, so Ratify is looking healthy. The biggest problem is they're just playing to survive instead of playing to win. I really feel like they should have stopped that, and now Chaz actually taking a lot of damage there, using that pain suppression and that trinket. Chaz is a very exposed target. Tessia as well, taking a lot of damage here. Big pressure coming out with that power infusion from Prophecy, but Ratify caught up in the sheep. Prophecy using that greater fade. Ratify in the Dragon's Breath. Can he get a follow-up sheep? No. Livin shuts it down with the sheep. Then Ratify is going to be able to come out there. Beautiful defense by Livin, and that means they are going to be able to survive here once again. Chaz looking for the drink, but Chaz, no trinket, no pain suppression, means one Hammer of Justice into a silence. Could just be the game here if they can set it up properly on the side of Blastwave Bros.
Let's see if they can push in and close this on match point. That's a reverse sweep method if they want to stay in the upper bracket. Thasia getting blasted, ducking down to the side, but Prophecy nails the mind games. Chaz needs to risk the gamble or maybe dispel it. Waz gets stunned up, dispelled out by Chaz. Rapture's up, double Ring of Frost. Beautiful setup. Prophecy respects it, trading Dispersion, but still it's not Combustion. Dispersion out of the way is a big opening. Double Fear from Chaz. Nice play from downtown. Prophecy still low on health. Thasia with Combustion in his back pocket. Where is he going to put it is the question. Prophecy going for Void Form. Thasia getting destroyed. They grip him back to the pillar. Chaz's mana is looking desperate. Prophecy's going in with Door of Shadows, trying to keep the team in combat, getting Polymorph here. Meteor off the Polymorph. Smoke Bomb attempt to just KO Prophecy in a stun lock. Will they net the kill here? Ratify ducks in with Sacrifice, redirecting damage, but now they could swap to Ratify. Divine Toll comes in, healing the whole team. Looking stable. Clutch play there between Waz and Thasia, setting up that smoke bomb on the Polymorph, netting important cooldowns here, but there's still more to work through. They don't have a lot of mana to do it with. Chaz pre-barriers the Hammer of Justice. Nice play from Chaz, the shield protecting his whole team during what could have been the kill. Triple Dragon's Breath out from Livin, trying to set up, but Ratify gets stun locked here. Method are going for a Hail Mary play here. They have no mana left in the tank, but Prophecy reads the situation, pre-fades the stun. Now a Ring of Frost on Waz. They could turn this around. Chaz into silence. They're trying to go after Thasia. Chaz is basically working with nothing at this point, going for a YOLO mind games. That pockets the kill, and Method pull it off with nothing. 3-0.
Unbelievable. Chaz, no mana left. Frosty still had his Void Shift. Ratify still had his Divine Shield, but Method just pushed the pace. I mean, you have to give them a lot of credit. It was not looking good for them in that situation. I feel like if they had just traded the cooldowns, they would have been able to beat Method, but Method's play it calm, cool, collected, very aggressive in the matchup. They're able to pull out the kill and claim this series 3-0.
My favorite part about this series, I think, is watching Waz's